Hey everyone, welcome to the Electric Supercar channel. This week we're going to be working on the wing. Let's get to it. We're going to start looking at the wing and how to mount it. So before I had kind of 4 holes and I had 4 kind of really long screws that went all the way up to the wing itself. I'm going to try and improve on that a little bit. The other thing is underneath I just had, so that's just kind of countersunk as well. So it wasn't bad, but we're going to do better. So to help me mount the wing, I ordered some parts from Oshcut. So these are some plates I'm going to use to help me mount the wing. I made these kind of a long time ago, but they went here and then this part got mounted to the deck lid, and essentially I had just long screws from the deck lid. This was really just kind of acting like a spacer. What I'm doing, my plan, is these guys will fit right in there, and I'll do the 4 screws again, but it'll be to the metal, and then I'll have 2 bolts going in through the deck lid, and then this will be kind of on the other side of the deck lid, kind of like, think of it like a big washer. Anyways, a big plate, so it's not going to pull through the deck lid, just those 4 little screws. So this big plate will have to pull through. So we're going to start looking at how to do that. All right, so I tapped these 2 holes, drilled out 4 holes here to match the pins or the riv nut locations, and again got that just perfect. So really happy with that. All right, I got the plates secured to their mounts. I just used some of the short strand fiberglass filler, kind of filled it all in, kind of both sides. So I did that to both of them. And now I'm going to lay them on here and add some additional fiberglass to kind of flare things out, have it kind of blend a little bit better. So I laid up some fiberglass most heavily around the back, a little bit around the front, and a little bit around the sides. Really, instead of just having it go straight down, this kind of helps blend it and also give it a larger base. So again, the larger base will help distribute the load, and I think it'll work better. So I did all this with wax paper. So again, I should have kind of a perfect matching contour to my back deck lid. All right, so it's all set up now. It's got a good shape to the car. Just need to peel it off the wax paper and then trim up the outsides. And then we'll look at fastening it to the wing. We got these sanded up somewhat, so that's kind of what it'll look like. I'll probably still try and blend it a little bit better. I think what I might do is again put that wax paper on and go after it with some filler. And I'll probably just focus on the bottom part, because again the top part I need to fasten to the wing. So I think I'll do that real quick, and then I'll work on kind of the wing placement and fastening these guys to the wing. This is what they look like after a little bit of filler. We'll go ahead and sand these and then get them ready for mounting to the wing. All right, to make sure I've got a perfect fit here between the trunk lid and the support here for the wing, is I've laid sandpaper right on top. So basically I'm just going to do it just a little bit just to make sure I've got the kind of the perfect contour right where it's going to sit. I'll make sure it's nice and flat, ready to go. After some sanding, kind of contouring to the deck lid, we got some really good fit. Now I'm just going to kind of dress it up just a little bit, and then we'll look at mounting to the wing. Here is the rear wing with our new mounts. And now what we're looking to do is just make sure we've got this kind of down in place where we want it, front and back as well as kind of down. And it just needs to drop a little bit, which we kind of knew. So what I'm going to do, like I did on the deck lid, I'm going to put some sandpaper here and kind of sand it down until we get things kind of lined up just right. I did some initial sanding to kind of contour it to the wing. I already did it to the deck lid here. And what I'm finding is, I'll call it like a 3-dimensional problem. So this matches really well at the bottom. However, and it matches really well at the top. But when I bolt them together, it doesn't. So I don't know if you can see, but I got like gap all along here when this is bolted up to the top. But you see, if it's bolted to the top, you get a really nice gap. Same thing on the other side. So I've got gap over here. So I think what that means is it's like bolted and pulling up kind of at an angle. And so for me, I'm gonna keep the bottom where it is and try and kind of sand the top so it matches more with what I've got. All right, I've got the wing about as level as I can get it. So again, kind of nice and even right here all the way down. The one problem I have is a plane is defined by 3 points. So this is matched up, that's matched up, and this is matched up right here. That point, I don't know if you can tell, but it's like quite a bit higher. So what that means is that when this was made or sometime thereafter, this one kind of goes down like this, but that one kind of goes up. So I'm going to try to do some shape setting right there. Here is my setup. So over here, I've just kind of got some counterweights. Here, I've got a weight up top, and then really the only reason for the weight up top is so this string of weights on the bottom, I've got that on a ratchet strap, and so it just doesn't slide off the end. So I've got a lot of weight here. I'm gonna get it up maybe around 170 to 190, try and keep it below 200, and kind of let it soak for, you know, an hour, a couple hours, and then let it cool and see if we've made any difference. Last week we talked a little bit about this side is bigger than this side, and I kind of did a nice even blend, but it's still bugging me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of put some tape here, and then I'm actually going to sand this side kind of down so it kind of has an even, I'll call panel width or body line all the way along there. It will mean I need to repaint and kind of do all the sanding processes, but I think that's what I'm going to do. I got this all finished back up and essentially measured kind of this height as well as the height over there. So we're pretty even all the way along, and it's blended well. I have been cleaning up wires back here. So for the longest time I had kind of the wires zip tied to this bar, again because I was taking the shell on and off, and that was a way to kind of keep the wires where they need to be. But now I'm putting the wires back on the shell. The shell's not coming off anymore, so I'm going to kind of get them out of the way because they were really visible and kind of messy. So we're going to bring them around and zip tie them to the shell. All right, it's mostly cleaned up. Got things just kind of zip tied. Created some points here for attachment for all the cabling. So a couple there. So zip tied everything kind of down and out of the way. So now it looks relatively clean. I got this one right here that is left over from a previous dash cam. So I just probably need to take that whole thing out. Anytime I mess with some wiring, I always want to make sure that all my systems still work. So these are the park lights. You've even got the, made sure the lights for the license plate kind of light up. So everything looks good. We'll try blinkers as well as reverse and brake lights. Good over here, good over there. Blinkers are good. Camera works. I'll go check the reverse lights. Yes and yes. And we'll check brake lights. So I think we're good. I am taking a quick break for some breaking news. So right there, I'm getting 220 in the garage. So that's all kind of wired up. And so I've got a spot right here. This is, I think, gonna be for the car charger. And then over here, I've got another spot for like a garage heater, as well as like the welder. So that's there, that's there. That's some big news. I got it all hooked up, mounted, ready to go. Here we are charging the car, the first time in this new house. So it's about the first time in a year that I've done charging at home. This is a bumper that I bought, I think from like Summit Racing, or anyway. I bought this probably 2 years ago when I first bought the car, and the thought was I wanted to have a rear bumper. it really does not have any sort of structure at all. So the original kit kind of just stops right around the strut tower mounts, and there is no bumper, there's nothing. So I kind of always thought that I wanted to put that on, and I've never done it just because to get the shell on and off, it's really tight clearance. And so I just haven't done it. Well, now that I've got like these roll hoops on and they're kind of all fixed, the shell's not coming off anymore. So I'm gonna go ahead and see about welding on that rear bumper. For the rear bumper, I trimmed off the ends. I measured to make sure they were the same on either side, and that's just so we have clearance for the wheels. I got this was some of the frame that I cut off when I had to mount the Tesla motor, and so I made my own frame, and then this was just kind of a leftover piece. So I've kind of successfully notched this. I don't have a hole notcher, so I just, I'd say I've gotten pretty good at just kind of grinding this to fit. So let's see, this guy, it's like that. So pretty good, got it all cleaned up. We're ready to weld. So what I'll do is I'll probably do another test fit, make sure that the wheel's clear with plenty of room and that this gives the right space. One of these is angled. So I don't know if you can see that, but it's angled. So this in here, this piece here is angled. So that kind of gives it so it's straight back from that. And like I said, we'll mock it up. And if everything looks good, then we'll start tacking in place. It is going to be a little bit challenging to paint this once it's welded in place. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and paint it, kind of stop the corrosion and stuff before I put it in. And then I'll kind of rough up the places where I'm going to weld, and then I'll paint over the weld. So I got this cleaned up and painted. So I'm gonna let it dry for a little bit, probably overnight. And then I'll get it into the car and kind of scuff up the areas or remove the paint where I'm gonna weld. I initially tacked things in place and then did just a little bit of a weld there. It's so dark and hard to see, but back there as well. So again, if the tube's coming, I was able to kind of do this half on both sides. To do the other half, I'll probably have to take off the wheels. But man, it is super challenging, just awkward and dark. And so did the best I could. I'm saying it's at least 5% better than not having a bumper at all. So I'm struggling with my new welder. I'm just trying to dial in the settings. I tried it once kind of on the bench and kind of sounded like bacon, sounded like it was set well. In the car, I kept struggling. It seemed to be like, instead of argon CO2, it almost seemed like it was oxygen. It was kind of like a torch a lot of the time. So I kept on trying to mess with the settings. I think I got it a little bit better, but if you guys got some suggestions, let me know. I'm pretty sure that's the worst welding anyone's ever done. So right there, and then like in that corner, it's kind of hard to see. But basically that's just kind of finishing out the weld. So I did one weld on the other side on both of those, and now I kind of got underneath here. So I'll do it on the other side and call that good. All right, can you tell? Again, just right under there is the bumper, and I got it kind of welded to the frame here. Again, that's a pretty strong motor mount, and along the other side as well. So again, it's just kind of, it's like right here. So spent a lot of time for nothing you can really see, but I feel better. All right, believe it or not, I was able to shape set it. So this is now basically the same height all along there, as well as along here. The mount is already mounted to the wing with the screws, but to kind of give it a better base, kind of more even stress distribution, kind of blended it with some fiberglass. That'll add some extra strength, and I think it'll also look better. So I did it both here and there. And then there was just a couple spots here where it looked like it was kind of just cracked or separated. So added some fiberglass reinforcement there as well. So I will let this cure up and kind of try and sand it up. Then I'll need some filler and last, primer. This is after kind of the first attempt at filler and sanding. And again, I think it looks pretty good. It's always kind of hard to see because it's camouflage, but it's kind of got a nice transition to the bottom and the top. So we'll kind of go after with finer and finer sandpaper, put a coat of the primer on, and see what it looks like. And that is why you do guide coat. So I've got some low spots. I'll need to get some filler. The other thing is just on the edges, we've got kind of a couple places that aren't kind of full from the factory, just kind of little chips. And then this other side, I don't know why, they've chosen to like grind that down. So I need to kind of make them even. So I either need to file that one down or build this one out. I'll probably build this one out. But again, there's just little chips and things that I need to take care of. So I'll mix up some filler, clean this off, put the filler on. I've got some other places on the bottom side, just some touch up, but we're getting there. This is after we did the guide coat and found some low areas, did some filler, sanded everything again. So top and bottom have all been sanded. I think things are looking pretty good. The one corner here that was a little bit short, like it looked like it was sanded off or broken off from the factory. Again, anytime, so if it was like a notch out here, I think you can just put some of that fiberglass filler on, it works well. But if it's kind of like a triangle, like if it's not supported on like two sides, it'll just break off. So what I ended up doing is I drilled a hole, put in a metal rod and put it with the fiberglass filler. So both inside the hole and around that rod. So that kind of just gives it enough support that it won't just chip off. So we'll let this cure up and then we'll kind of go after it with 150 grit. Put a coat of the white sandable primer on. The top side actually looks pretty good. I think there's like maybe one or two pinholes. The bottom side, man, it was pretty bad. So we're gonna need to do a lot on the bottom side, but we gotta let it set up and then we'll get after it with some filler or putty and go one more time with the primer. All right, I've got my light here. This helps me find the pinholes. And so you can see there's a couple there. And that's kind of about it for this side. So on the other side, there's quite a few. So we've got just a whole bunch all along there and along that edge too. So basically, I think this is where, on the factory, where they joined this third taillight is an extra option. And I think they joined it with fiberglass and anyway, got a couple extra spots there. So we'll go ahead and fill those up, sand, and reprime. We have all the pinholes plugged and sanded and ready for primer again. So it is painted and now I've just attached it. So again, these are my big plates on the back, some bolts there, just kind of holding the wing together. So that So now we'll close it and we'll kind of take it out and let's see what it looks like. I just wired up the third brake light, routed the cables back down there. And I tell you, with the cables cleaned up, this is like a lot of empty space, doesn't look too bad. One day I will get to putting, I'll call it a trunk. I'll probably make some fiberglass thing that can kind of, maybe it's a split trunk because there's space there and space there. One day, but not today. I really thought I was all done. Just try to close the trunk. It doesn't close. These new plates. So right here, just the outside of that hits right here. So what I'll do is I'll probably just end up shaving this just a little bit. Here's my precise way to figure out how much I need to trim off. I just kind of put some clay on here. I'll close it and just kind of see where that line goes. So, I don't know if you can tell, but essentially it goes right there. So I'd have to cut off quite a bit. I could also shave this off a little bit. This side's got even more overhang, so it's a little bit worse. I'll have to decide what I want to do. So I'm getting better, a little closer fit. I decided to try and relieve the rain gutter a little bit. I don't know there's any reason to have it stick out so far. So that's about how much more we need to go, or we can trim up there. I'm thinking I can get away with a little bit smaller, so I think that's what I'll start with. It is closed. Looks really good. And the lines line up really well. Again, it's nice and flat, even. So it's already night, but we'll take it out and kind of see what it looks like. All right, everyone, that does it for this week. See you next time.